Hope y'all enjoying y'all day. If y'all enjoying y'all day. Kind of quiet out here, I guess because it's a weekday. Kids back in school and stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of quiet out here. Kind of quiet out here. But I like it. I like it. I like it. But I want to talk about, don't stress yourself over people. You know, don't stress yourself out over people not get things right. Like I mentioned, I work in the school system, and some of the students, they just don't care about, getting education, you know. And, you know, we all been there before, but it's certain students. It's just like you try to pour into them, you try to help them out, and they just don't want to do what they're supposed to do, And what can you do about that? And I feel like it's part of the parents' obligation to pour education into the children. It's not always about designing clothes and stuff like that. It's like, you need an education in order to get those things the right way. And so I feel like, even adults, we may stress out over somebody that we really want to pour into, you know, and sometimes they still, don't want to do the right thing. And so, you do what you can do, you do what you can do. But sometimes, it's kind of tough to do those things. So, you just try to do the best you can, with things. But yeah, just try to do the right thing. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for watching. But I try not to talk too much around people that think I'm talking to myself. But just stay inspired. You know, do what you need to do in life. Think about how you can move forward. Like I said, dealing with students in school. You hate to see a kid, get held back because of not caring and not seeing the importance of education. It's like I said, it's part of the parents obligation to instill discipline and in school. But yeah, it's tough, but you try hard as an educator and doing what you do to really help students out, but they have to help themselves. They have to find a way to help themselves. And even through life, you look at other adults, you're like, man, I wish they can get it right. I wish they can get it right. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's very frustrating, especially a person that's heavily influenced by others' opinions and other people that doesn't do them any good. How can you help them? But yeah, that's why I want to leave you with. Don't stress out over other people. you know don't stress out over other people. Sometimes we get so stressed out because people won't listen. People make the same mistakes over and over again. You like, are they listening? You wonder if people is listening to you in the first place. And so, I've learned just don't stress out about it. You know, if you know you told somebody the right thing over and over again, you try to pour into people your advice. You know, people accept it or they don't. You know, I try. You know, I've learned over time. You tell people, it's up to them to listen. You know, it's up to them to listen. And so, yeah, that's what I want to leave you with. Again, appreciate y'all for watching. All right.